Hello everybody, so this video is entitled SATA against MSTR versus MSTR versus STRC, of course more specifically. I want to talk about SATA's big news, which is the daily dividend, which, you know, kind of like is a little bit of an earthquake in the treasury company business this morning. Everybody's talking about it. And so actually 2 hours ago we had this update, you know, long presentation, 25-minute presentation. Anybody who follows this space will understand why this is a great thing. The daily dividend company paying a daily dividend is a wonderful thing, but we were left wondering for more than an hour as to how they were going to do it, as to how this was even possible, because Saylor said that the best they could do was technically 10 days, so twice a month is the best STRC can do. And then you have Stripe coming out with the ultimate product, which would be obviously SATA that pays a daily dividend, paying the daily dividend. This is obviously the way to go. This avoids the arbitrage. And this is what I have to assume Saylor was trying to do. And so this is wonderful for SATA and for ASST. The problem is, can they do it? Can you actually do that? And that was a big question that was trending on X for like an hour. Like, how do you do that? Can you actually do that? And then you had the CEO respond, well, actually, it's already approved. And actually, the 10-day requirement is all about just between declaration and payment, but it doesn't say anything about having, you know, 23 or 22 dividend declaration dates a month, which is what they're going to do. They're going to declare a dividend 22 or 23 times a month, and then every time you get paid 10 days later. So I didn't know you could do that. I'm sure this is coming to a shock to Saylor this morning. I'm sure Saylor is probably shocked this morning as to what's going on over their strategy. I think there's probably an emergency meeting at strategy right now. Probably that's kind of what I think. So and of course, and by the way, they also mentioned they were going to be debt free. To me, this is a minor announcement, especially if they retired very little debt. They only have like 10 million or something. This is a smaller announcement. MSTR is going to do that too. So this is a smaller announcement. The big announcement is, of course, moving to daily. And so lots of question. You know, more questions than answers at this point. So ASST and MSTR, they're both on the NASDAQ, and so they both have to follow the NASDAQ rules. And so in my view, this is a question of the lawyers. This is a question of the general counsel. They seem to be interpreting the rules differently. What led the MSTR counsel to think that it was 10 days apart? And what led the ASST's counsel to think that it's okay to do it 23 times and get it approved already? Which one is correct? Which one is right? Is it ASST or is it MSTR? Which one is correct? Which one is right? Clearly someone was not correct, and I don't know who it is. But somebody's probably getting fired somewhere soon, is what I think. And I just don't know if it's at ASST and MSTR. Either case, it's a good thing to let the smaller company experience and go through the regulatory hurdles. So MSTR is benefiting from this either way, because if you can do it, my guess is that MSTR will do it too. But there has to be some misunderstanding with the rules. That's kind of what I think here. Clearly, someone was wrong, and I don't know yet who's the wrongest, but it seems based on ASST's tweet, it seems like it was strategy who was incorrect about the 10-day period. That's what it seems for now. There's possible alternative explanations. So I put less weight on these explanations. I don't think that's the thing. I really think that's a mix-up with the lawyers and the counsel and the interpretation of the rules. That's what I think happened at strategy. But there's possible alternative explanation. One alternative explanation as to why they didn't move to daily back then is that Saylor thought maybe they wouldn't have a hard time getting the votes. Maybe they would have had a hard time getting the votes. Maybe that was part of the rationale. Another one would be, is most of the STRC flows, are most of these flows from arbitrageurs? And if most of the flows are from arbitrageurs, if you get rid of the ex-dividend date, you get rid of the arbitrageurs. You're going to have less flows from arbitrageurs. And in that case, moving to a daily dividend actually removes a bunch of arbitrageurs bid. Now, I also think this is a lesser explanation because I happen to believe that, for Saylor, it's not good at having arbitrageurs. Nobody wants arbitrageurs. Like, we don't want them. We just want, the instrument is not designed for arbitrageurs, right? The instrument is designed for people who want to have a low volatility Bitcoin-based yield, Bitcoin anchored yield. So I would see mostly this as a good thing. Like I said, more questions than answers. But anyways, let's do a smaller company experiment. Like I said, today actually on a day where Bitcoin is slightly recovering on the day compared to yesterday, we actually have Strive down and Strategy up. So I'm curious as to if there's anything to read in there. There's probably nothing to read in there. This is probably just random movements. And STRC is ATMing so strong. So I took this screenshot an hour in. You can see 9:30 a.m. my time, right? So it would be 10:30 Eastern time. You can see I took this screenshot 1 hour in. We're already at 1,600 Bitcoin in 1 hour. Think about what that would mean for the entire day. Today will be the most epic day for STRC's capital raise, and that's because of the X dividend. And so maybe if you get rid of X dividend, maybe you have less bid. For sure you would have less bid on such days, right? But then you don't have you don't have the slump of the instrument trading below par for perhaps 15 to 20 days. You don't have that slump. So anyways, today STRC is winning. The fact that we issued so much in just an hour is unthinkable, and I can't wait to see tonight how much we actually issued before we go ex dividend. But yeah, I think I probably think there's a meeting going on at MSTR right now trying to figure out what happened and why they didn't do it, because daily dividends are pretty obvious to me. And congratulations to ASST and to SATA for doing that. That's a big deal. So anyways, this was not investment advice. This is not financial advice. This is only entertainment. I'm hoping you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.